And yourself, you're in a good health. Okay, you are preparing the Maulud. I mean, the birthday of the Prophet Muhammad. It's very important for us Muslims to remember the birthday of the Prophet. He was wise. He's done his best for God and for us also, our Muslims, for giving us the message that God wanted. His life, he was born in 570 in Mecca, in the Beni Hashim, in the Qurayshite community. His mother, Aminata, and his father, Abdullah. His father was there when he was a little child, and his mother after he is 6 years old. And then when he was a boy, the Prophet began by bringing the sheep to the bush as a berger, and after that he was selling with his uncle. They were going from town to sell, and after a moment a woman will choose him as a seller. The woman's name is Khadija. She was a widow, a very rich widow, and Khadija will choose the Prophet to work for her, and the Prophet accepted and was working for her. And after that, Khadija was very happy in the manner that the Prophet was working for her, and had decided to choose him, Malikum Salam, choose him as a husband. Yes, and the Prophet accepted and married Khadija. They had children. The most famous is Fatima. Yes, I've said that Fatima will be the wife of Aliyun. Okay, and the Prophet Muhammad himself, when he was 40 years old, God himself has chosen him as a prophet of Islam, to bring the light, to bring the right, to bring the good way to human being, and that's what the Prophet Muhammad did. Yes, he was saying that there's one God, Allah, and him, Muhammad, is the last prophet of Allah. Before Muhammad, Allah has sent a lot of prophets, from the first Adam to Noah to Abraham to Moses to Jesus, and him, Muhammad, is the last prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in his Mecca's community, they didn't want to understand that message, because at that time, the Mecca's community was chanting in more than 1,000 gods. The biggest was Lat, Uzza, and Manat, and the Prophet Muhammad came with a speech saying that there's one God, and him is his prophet. For those who were in Mecca, they're saying that yes, Muhammad is crazy. A part of them were saying that. The others were saying, what we have to do to stop Muhammad, because his message is going in our town, and a lot of those who are in our town is trusting in his God, and for them it was the hand of their 1,000 gods, that is. And the first Muslim was persecuted in Mecca. The Prophet himself has chosen to send a part in Yathrib and another part in Abyssinia, and in 622 the Prophet Muhammad himself, those who were in Mecca wanted to kill him, and God himself told him to go to exile, and the Prophet went to Abyssinia. It's the beginning of the Muslim calendar, yes, the Hijri calendar. That is, in Yathrib, the Prophet with those who trust in God. A lot of those who were in Yathrib also were trusting in God. That is what those who were in Mecca didn't want to understand, didn't want to hear, because they said we wanted to stop Muhammad and Islam in our town, and now they are in another town, and they are doing what we don't want, and they attack them. That God gave them the message to resist. Yes, and the Muslims community began to resist, to fight. Battles and battles, and the most important battle for Muslim community was the Badr. The Badr fight, God himself has given the victory to the Muslim before the fight. That's why the Muslim community was just 313, and the unfaithful from Mecca was more than 1,000. And that fight was very important. God gave the victory to the Muslim, and then after the Muslims were back, went to Mecca to put out from the Kaaba polytheist gods,
1,000 false gods that they put in the Kaaba.
And yes, saying that there's one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet. It's very important for us Muslims to remember that day, to remember the life of the Prophet, to remember what the Prophet Muhammad has done for Islam, for human being. And I can say he was not fighting for him. He was fighting for God. He was fighting for those who trust in God after him. That's very important. And the Prophet every time was saying, when he was attacked somewhere like Taif,
he was saying, no, they don't know what they're doing. Their grandson will trust in God. That's the most important thing.
Their grandson will trust in Islam, will trust in God. That's the most important thing. So what we have to understand is God has chosen Muhammad, has as the last prophet, and Muhammad has done his best for fighting for Islam, for propagating Islam, for giving Islam to human beings, to mankind. Today, everywhere in the world, in the four corners of the world, you have Muslims saying every day, every time, there's one God, Allah, Muhammad is his prophet. They're praying every day, every time, 5 times in the day, fasting every year, the month of the Ramadan, giving if they are rich, the zakat, 25 in every 1,000 that they have to Muslim heaven to God. And the last, the 5th pillar of Islam is to go to Mecca every year for pilgrimage. That's what we do every time, for saying that there's one God, Allah, who has created mankind, and says the difference of color, and says the difference of culture, and says the difference of country. We all are Muslim. We all are created by God. We all are saints every time. That's what we have to do, is to do what God wants. That is the most important thing, because our life in the earth will end one day, and then we'll go back to another world where our ancestor Adam came, and that if we do good things, we'll go to paradise. If we do bad things, God is almighty. Okay, thank you.